I love being the center of attention. I make the conversation about me. The prettier the people are, the more accepted they are. I think keeping up appearances matter. What people say about you doesn't matter. People tend to hold on to things for a long time and think that comment that was made years ago makes absolutely no sense. All right. What's up, guys? It is a nice, beautiful, bright day out here in Orange County. And I'm right now next to the water, as you can see. Beautiful beach. I'm actually not sure what beach I'm in. But it's somewhere south of Laguna Beach, or Laguna, like the big Laguna Beach, somewhere south of that. It's a little bit more quiet. I mean, the wind is pretty heavy right now, but this is a really nice beach. And today's a Tuesday, so there's not a lot of people out here. This is such a nice walk. And I think, like, I needed to get my mind off things and just come out to the beach on a weekday after work. Not a lot of people around. It's just a good way to clear and freshen my headspace a little bit. So this is, you can see there's a lot of rocks out here. It's really loud because of the waves. So I don't know how much you can hear me, but this is still really nice. So right now, I'm going to try and cross these really like craggy rocks out here so I can get away from the people a bit and actually have a conversation. So let's see. These are some craggy rocks. Those are sharp. Okay. I think I finally have a little bit of a quiet spot. All right. Let me see. Find a spot. Nope. I'm not finding anything. Actually, this is fine. Let me sit right here. My butt's gonna be wet, but that's okay. So today, I want to talk a little bit about what others say about you and how that affects your life and how much power we give about what other people's comments. And the funny thing is that a lot of people hold on to things that were said about them when they were very young. It might be something your mother said, it might be something your dad said, it might be something your sisters or brothers said when you were a kid that you tend to latch onto for a very long time. And I think that's such a traumatizing and sad way to go through life. It's especially sad because when you're a kid, you're so impressionable. Little things mean the world to you. Like, for example, if another older kid bullies you, you tend to think about that and you tend to have this aggravated anger that you couldn't have dished out at that time because you were small. Now, imagine this situation. You're a kid. There's an older kid who shoves you or pushes you, says some bad names to you. And then 10 years down the line, when that same thing happens to you in a different circumstance, maybe you're being bullied in a business, maybe you're being bullied by another authority figure, maybe something is being said to you and you don't know how to react because those same feelings that you felt as a kid, they come alive in that specific scenario. Maybe that kid called you fat, and when you get older, when you lose weight, you still think you're fat. And it's kind of sad because you let that small comment hold so much power over you. And that is the saddest part that needs to be addressed, because I don't think people should be thinking like that. I'll give you another example in my own life. When I was young, I loved being the center of attention. I loved it to the point where I intrude conversation, I would make the conversation about me, I loved talking about my experiences, how well I did, and I wanted people to like my achievements and see me that I'm a very achievement-oriented person and that I'm successful. I don't know why I attributed so much of my identity to my outward successes, but it was just something that I grew up with, and I thought it would make me more likable when I was in high school. It turned out, whenever I talked or boasted more about my achievements, people thought of that as annoying and unlikable, and in general, I was not thought of as good. Now, the funny thing is, when others would do the same thing, maybe there were dudes who were better looking than me or smarter than me. When they talked about their achievements, people still kind of like that. There's some bias there, I'm sure. I'm a big believer in that the prettier the people are, the more accepted they are. And that's a universal truth whether you're in school. It's probably more exacerbated when you're in school. When you're younger, where people don't have a lot of morals or achievements, but kids attribute more successful traits to people who are already pretty because they look good. It's unfortunate, but that's the truth. But as I grew older, I realized that it kind of goes down a little bit, but at the same time, people who are pretty have an advantage that others just don't. And it's just inherently people who are pretty, whether they're men or women, are just a bit more likable. That first impression that pretty people give is thought of as more likable compared to those who are not as likable. And that's just the truth of the matter. You can't really do anything about it. That's how society works. So I know this is going to sound a little controversial, but folks who are good looking, ripped and jacked probably give a stronger, more likable impression to someone than somebody who's not, or somebody who's overweight. So it's just those things, those tendencies tend to exist universally. But what we can control is how much power we give to thoughts that others attribute to us. And I think that's where people get it wrong. What somebody said about you 10 years ago, 15 years ago, is such a small aspect of your life. And, man, this place is getting loud. What people say about you from 10 years ago shouldn't hold any power over your life because you're a totally different person. Chances are, if you're even a little bit successful, that person who called you something or was a bully in the past is worse off in life than you. I know this to be the case because I know that I'm doing well, I own properties, that I'm successful, I have a good tech career, I've done amazing things, I've done big things in music in my own regard, and the people who, you know, were bigger than me when I was a kid, a lot of them are just fucking doing whatever. They're just sad in life, they've got a bunch of kids, and I know that their life isn't that great. So, I think that I tend to hold on to some of those things and give so much power to something they said 10, 15 years ago is kind of stupid to me, and I shouldn't be doing that. But I've also realized that people don't think that laterally. People tend to hold on to things for a long time. And the way you make that switch is by just turning that switch off. It's not that hard to turn that switch off. If somebody called you fat, where objectively you are not fat anymore, you're ripped and you're strong and you're jacked, then that simply just isn't true, right? So you have to look at yourself and think that comment that was made years ago makes absolutely no sense. And you should totally let that go. The other thing that I've seen is that, whoa, look at that crab. That's a huge crab. Look at that. Oh my God. It's so well. That crab is so well camouflaged. Look at that crab. Who knows, man? Oh, there's another one. This is why I love coming to the beach, because you always like see cool little sea creatures here and there. There's some crabs around here too. But yeah, what I was saying is that we give so much power to what others say of us, we forget that most of that is just words, and there is no real intent or leverage or weight behind what people say. Now, that doesn't mean do whatever you want. You still have to act a certain way in society to be successful. you're not successful just by yourself. Perhaps you are part of a team, perhaps you're leading a team, perhaps you want to own your own business and run your own team. In that case, what those people think about you really matters. So being likable is a trait that you need to work on. Some of the things that have worked for me, that have made me more likable to my team members, especially if I'm leading or in a project, is I think one of the things that I used to do as a kid was I didn't listen very well. But now, that has completely changed. I strongly believe that I am a much stronger listener, and that has led me to become a much stronger and more likable person in my community. So I realize whenever you're in a meeting or you're having a conversation, be the last one to talk. Listen a lot, because if you listen a lot, what ends up happening is that when you say things, and if you say things at the right moment, and if you don't say a lot of things frequently, when you say whatever you say has more importance and holds a bit more weight. So I would highly recommend doing that. Anyways, before I'm going to start walking again, but I really want you to see this view. The sun is really, really nice. Look at that. Isn't that insane? Oh, so amazing. Alright, well, we're going to go back and start walking again. Alright. It's so nice to just have these light conversations at the beach. I wish there was nobody around. But it's a nice warm summer day, so that's not a very realistic expectation. Alright. As I am walking away, I want to talk a little bit more about kind of like just, you know, I see a lot of people, and I see a lot of people who don't give a lot of thought on how they appear to others as they get older. I think keeping up appearances matter. When you so some of you might see this and think, hey, you're talking about why it's important to keep up appearances, but then you're saying that it doesn't matter what people think about you. There's two different things here. It's really important to keep up appearances because you want to give a strong, put-together impression wherever you go, whenever you're in a certain environment. Being put together will always put you ahead of the rest of the pack. But, oh, this is so nice. As I was saying, being put together will always put you ahead of most other people. So putting on a good impression or just being well put together in an external environment helps. Now, appearances matter, but what people say about you doesn't matter. It's really important to not give too much weight to what people think about you in terms of what they say. Because if it's negative, you shouldn't give it too much thought. Unless you're in a team. If you're in a team, then you have to act in a certain way and make sure your team likes you. And the best way to do that is by listening most of the time. So that's my 2 cents of advice. Like, I grapple with this all the time, where I am worried about what people think or what people say. But I've realized, as long as you do your best to appear likable, that's what matters the most. And if people say bad things about you, especially people from the past, it doesn't matter. You've changed as a person. You've changed in so many ways. So don't let what other people think about you from the past hold any power over your life. Instead, focus on your current community and your future community and what they think about you. Because the person that you've become is something that is awesome. So enjoy that and show that to the rest of the world.